Welcome to TV Africa News. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to yet another edition of Africa Today. My name is Nahar Kajur, but first are the headlines. Uganda needs a school fees policy according to Speaker of Parliament. UN chief says world failing to achieve gender equality. Benin's leader meet with the counterpart in Paris. In our sports news today, Simba complete double over Vipers. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Please start with one of our top stories. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among, has called for the establishment of a policy to harmonize school fees in Uganda. Now, she called for an urgent policy to harmonize school fees and promote access to education for all. During plenary on Tuesday, 7th March 2023, the Speaker expressed concern about the significant variations in school fees charged by different institutions, leading to hardships for parents and students. Among said the current lack of regulations has resulted in schools setting their fees arbitrarily, leading to significant disparities across the education sector beyond what parents can afford. The proposed policy, she said, would provide a clear framework for setting fees by considering factors such as access to education for low-income earners and children of peasants, among others. The Speaker emphasized that the policy should be sensitive to the economic situation of parents and guardians and encourage transparency in the fee-setting process. The Speaker's appeal for a policy on school fees harmonization comes as a relief to many struggling parents and students in Uganda who have been burdened with high education expenses. Reports on social and mainstream media indicate that some schools are charging over 5 billion shillings for secondary education per term. Away from that, women have been urged to unite and work together if they are to achieve women empowerment, sustainable growth, and yielding tremendous benefits. Now, the remarks were made by Monica Wanyama, the LCT chairperson, Lakeside Zone, Luzira Parish. I report Anadugu Hasma.
Celebrating Women's Day in Lakeside Zone, Luzira Parish, on the outside of Kampala City was led by Women in Leadership Group together with Youth Council Luzira, Global Green Growth Institute, an NGO, CD Luzira Youth Structure, Rotaract Club of Luzira, together with various local leaders. Speaking at the event, Monica Wanyama, the chairperson LC2 Lakeside Zone Luzira Parish, called upon women to unite and work together to strengthen women empowerment.
So she calls upon all the women on this day, on the International Women's Day, to join together and work together as a group. Nothing is going to pull you up when you're just seated under your home. You have to work together as a group because even God created our teeth to work together. You cannot eat with only one tooth. That's why God is perfect.
Miss Rebecca Chiwanka, a board member at the Parents Teachers Association of Luzira Church of Uganda Primary School, urged women to use their God-given talents for sustainable growth and development.
First of all, find who you are. What are your talents? Some of us are very good at speaking and we are very bad at working. Use the talent of speech to make money out of it. Some of us have got very good hands to make those things.
Presiding over the event, Chief Guest Dagmar Zweba, Country Director, Global Green Growth Institute, said they are making efforts to ensure equal opportunities for both men and women to strengthen gender equality.
Other activities I think that are important is talking, and that's what we're doing here today. Talk to your community, have your leadership involved to speak about equality and to discuss how you as a community can create more equal opportunities and create a more equitable environment for both men and women.
International Women's Day emerged from women's rights movements in the US and other industrializing countries during the early 1900s. The Socialist Party of America declared the first National Women's Day in 1909. It would be observed on the last Sunday of February until 1913. This year's theme is Embrace Equity, which draws a distinction between equity and equality.
Africa Today takes a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the Bright Channel. In international news, the United Nations Secretary General issued a dire warning to world leaders on how equality between women and men in the world is increasingly a distant goal.
Antonio Guterres said that women's rights are being abused, threatened and violated around the world, and that the progress made for decades is disappearing before our eyes. Guterres said that gender equality is growing more distant, with the UN Women putting it 300 years away. Closing the major gender gap in innovation and technology is the focus, the 67th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, which opened at UN headquarters in New York. Pauline Tallen, Minister for Women Affairs of Nigeria, said that digital technologies have the potential to accelerate progress towards the Sustainable Development Objectives by enabling the creation of new opportunities for education, health, agriculture, and entrepreneurship, among others. Other 2 weeks, participants from across the world will examine how gender equality can be achieved in the digital era and promote greater inclusivity for women in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math.
Away from that, in a long-awaited cabinet reshuffle late on Monday, South Africa's leader unveiled his new government. Now, it's comprised of 11 ministers and 9 deputy ministers. The naming of the new electricity minister captured the attention of the public. We have more on this report. According to the state-owned power utility, they are establishing 2 new ministries. The first of these is the Minister for Electricity to deal with the immediate crisis of load shedding, and the second is the Minister with specific responsibilities for planning, monitoring and evaluation to focus greater attention on the performance of government. President Cyril Ramaphosa has faced protests across the country. The ever-worsening power crisis, in which homes and businesses go without electricity up to 10 hours per day, is struggling Africa's most developed country. The state-owned power utility has implemented rolling power cuts across the nation for years, but 2022 was the worst. Last month, the president declared a state of disaster to deal with the electricity shortages affecting the 60 million South Africans. Power utility Eskom, which turns 100 years old, is struggling with the frequent breakdowns of its coal-fired power stations. Ramaphosa also announced a new deputy president in the reshuffle and dropped his tourism minister. Moving on, Beninese President Patrice Talon was welcomed on Tuesday by his French counterpart Emmanuel Macron. Now, according to the agenda of a president uploaded on the LC Palace website, both leaders met for working lunch.
The discussion is a follow-up to Emmanuel Macron's visit to Benin last July and was reportedly to focus on vocational training, the strengthening of economic ties, agriculture cooperation, projects and support for the Benin's armed forces in terms of equipment. Neighbor of Benin, Togo and other West African countries that share borders with Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger are getting ready to face Islamist militants who have destabilized swathes of territory. The same day, Patrice Talon visited Benin students attending the Goblin School, one of the world's leading schools for animation. He was accompanied by a delegation comprising ministers.
Moving on in international news, members of the Malian League of Imams and Scholars for Islamic Solidarity of the Mall Limama hold a meeting to show opposition to maintaining secularism in all its forms. We have more on this report. An influential organization of religious leaders in Mali on Tuesday called on its followers to reject a new constitution being drawn up under the country's junta leadership, maintaining the principle of secularism. The proposal to change Mali's constitution aims to enable the military-run West African nation to return to civilian rule. The new constitution is supposed to be put to plebiscite originally scheduled for March 19th, but the junta has made no comment on the timetable amid widespread doubts about the date. The junta's declared goal is to hold elections in February 2024 that would lead to the restoration of civilian rule. A constitutional draft received by junta leader Kano Assimi Goita late last month slated an attachment to the republican form and to the secularism of the state. The draft says that secularism is not opposed to religion and to beliefs, adding that its aim was to promote the brain-force living together based on tolerance, dialogue, and mutual understanding. We take a quick break. We'll come back with business, health, and sports. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In a business news today, the 50th UN Conference on the latest developing countries in Doha, Qatar, turned its attention on Monday to one of the most note-some global challenges, closing the staggeringly wild digital divide between nations. We have on this report.
A series of roundtable discussions saw global leaders confront two of the most fundamental hurdles facing LDCs: how to use better science, technology, and innovation, and how to promote structural transformations that can help overcome the real impediments faced by those on the margins of society. STI is critical in LDC's efforts to drive poverty eradication, transition to sustainable development, and become globally competitive. However, due to structural constraints, these vulnerable countries often need help to reap technological development's full economic and social benefits. According to many speakers, the key is finding ways to connect those left behind, sustainably address the divide, and foster conditions for more inclusive digital access. Information and communication technologies and internet access are key building blocks of the digital economy and have been recognized as important drivers for achieving sustainable development goals. According to Zambia's Technology and Science Minister Felix Mutati, despite the digital wave around the globe, millions of people in LDCs are still unable to enjoy the inherent benefits of these technologies. These many stakeholders at the summit agreed has to change.
Health news today, Kenya will expand the use of the world's first malaria vaccine, or RTS, in the country. This has been witnessed by Chimogoi Dispensary Hamisi sub-county in western Kenya, where mothers take their children to receive the jab. Kenya is one of the three countries, along with Ghana and Mali, where the RTS, a malaria vaccine, is already in use. The Director General for Health, Patrick Amoth, said that so far they have vaccinated close to 400,000 children. He added that in Vihiga County alone, at least 25,000 children have been vaccinated against malaria and has seen a substantial reduction in deadly severe malaria, a drop in child hospitalizations, and a reduction in child deaths. Malaria is an acute febrile illness caused by parasites which are spread to people through the bites of infected mosquitoes. According to the World Health Organization, the RTS vaccine acts against Plasmodium falciparum, the deadliest malaria parasite globally and the most prevalent in Africa. The extension announcement by the Ministry of Health on Monday follows a recommendation from the National Immunization Technical Advisory Group for the use of vaccination within Kenya's lake endemic region and the World Health Organization recommendation for broader use of the vaccine among children in sub-Saharan Africa in other regions with moderate to high malaria transmission. In sports news today, Vipers endured another frustrating outing after failing to Simba SC in the CAF Champions League on Tuesday at the Benjamin Parker National Stadium. Thank you so much, reporter. It is at this particular time that I thank you for being with us and always joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We should keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.